Listen carefully. There comes a moment in every person's life when they look around and realize something painfully honest. Your life isn't stuck. You are. And the version of you that brought you here cannot take you any further. You feel the pull of a bigger destiny. You feel the weight of unused potential pressing on your chest. And deep down, you know the truth. Nothing changes until you do. Not your environment, not your opportunities, not your outcomes. You. And right now, the battle is not between you and the world. It's between the person you are and the person you are meant to become. Today, we're going to expose the hidden reason your life is repeating the same cycles and reveal the disciplined breakthrough that will finally break you out of them. This isn't motivation. This is an awakening, a confrontation with the very habits and identities that have kept your future waiting. Get ready, because the moment you understand this, nothing in your life will ever stay the same again. The morning air is still, almost too still. It carries that quiet honesty you only hear when the world is not looking, the kind that doesn't lie, doesn't comfort, doesn't soften its edges. And this is where your transformation begins. In silence, in truth, in the place where excuses cannot follow you. Because right now you're standing in front of a mirror you've been avoiding. Not the one on your wall, not the one that reflects your face, but the deeper one, the one that reflects your life. Take a breath. Look at it. Really look. What you're seeing is not failure. It's not defeat. It's not destiny slipping away. What you're seeing is proof. Proof that your life is a perfect reflection of your habits, your decisions, your discipline, or your lack of it. You say you want change. You say you want progress. You say you're tired of feeling stuck. But the truth, you've avoided the truth that haunts you in moments like this, is simple, sharp, and unforgiving. Your life isn't changing because you haven't changed. And deep down, you know it. You can feel the friction inside you, that tension between the person you pretend to be and the person you're actually showing up as. Listen, every day, the universe asks you one question. Who are you becoming? And every day, your actions answer before your words do. If you wake up and avoid your responsibilities, if you break the promises you make to yourself, if you surrender to your moods, your doubts, your old patterns, then your answer is loud, even in silence. I am becoming the same person I was yesterday. That is why nothing moves. That is why the cycle repeats. That is why the door to the next version of your life remains locked. Not because you lack talent, not because you lack opportunity, not because the world is against you, but because the version of you standing at the door is not the version required to open it. Feel that truth. Don't run from it. Stand in it, because the moment you take responsibility, you take power. Napoleon Hill said, "Self-discipline begins with the mastery of your thoughts. If you do not control your thoughts, you cannot control your needs." And in this moment, the voice inside you, the one that's tired of settling, is whispering, "Enough. No more bargaining with weakness. No more negotiating with excuses. No more delaying your destiny. Look again at the mirror. Look at the life staring back at you. Everything you see is changeable. Everything you feel is moldable. Everything you want is reachable. But only if you confront the truth that transformation demands a sacrifice. Not a comfortable one. Not a symbolic one. Not a someday, one day one. It demands the death of the person who keeps holding you back. The one who says, "I'll start tomorrow." The one who breaks promises in secret. The one who talks about change but never steps into the arena. The one who lives from emotion instead of purpose. You cannot carry this version of yourself into the future you want. He must be left behind. Right here, right now, in this moment where silence reveals everything, because discipline isn't about grinding or punishment. Discipline is identity. Discipline is choosing who you are before you feel like being it. Discipline is the gateway to every destiny you've ever imagined. And that's why your life has felt stuck. Not because you're unworthy, not because you're unlucky, but because you're still operating from the identity you're meant to outgrow. But today, something shifts. You feel it, that pressure in your chest, that pull in your spirit, that quiet rising of energy. It's the old self cracking. It's the new self calling. This chapter is not the story of your struggle. This chapter is the story of your awakening. You stand here, in front of the mirror of your life, not to judge yourself, but to finally meet yourself. The real you, the disciplined you, the unstoppable you, the version of you capable of shaping fate with intention and consistency. And as the first light of dawn breaks across the horizon, you understand something powerful. Change doesn't begin with motivation. It begins with honesty. Honesty leads to responsibility. Responsibility leads to discipline. Discipline leads to transformation. This is your beginning. This is your turning point. This is the moment your life starts to move again. Affirmation. I am becoming the disciplined architect of my destiny. I rise by choice, not chance. There is a war you fight every single day, not out in the world, not against people, not against circumstances, but right here, behind your eyes, in the quiet corners of your mind where no one else can see. This is the battleground Napoleon Hill warned about, the territory where dreams are built or silently buried. And the truth is brutal. Your life isn't changing because your thoughts haven't changed. You keep trying to build a new life while recycling the same beliefs, the same doubts, the same internal language. Listen closely. You cannot think like a defeated man and expect to live like a victorious one. You cannot speak in excuses and walk in purpose. You cannot habitually choose comfort and pray for transformation. This is the contradiction that keeps you stuck. The quiet conflict inside you that you've never learned to challenge. Take a breath and step into this battlefield with me. Right now, inside your mind, there are two versions of you, the voice of weakness and the voice of discipline. The voice of weakness is familiar. It sounds like you. It knows your patterns. It knows your fears. It knows exactly how to talk you out of the life you say you want. It whispers, you can start tomorrow. You're too tired. It's not the right time. It's okay. If you skip today, no one will know. But here's the truth you've avoided. Everything that has held you back begins with that voice. Because weakness doesn't need to defeat you loudly. It only needs to convince you softly. Now meet the second voice, the one you hear less often, but feel deeply when it speaks. The voice of discipline. It doesn't beg. It doesn't negotiate. It doesn't whine. It commands. It says, get up, finish it, do what you said you would do, prove to yourself who you are. And every time you obey this voice, even in one small moment, your identity shifts. You stop being the person who talks about change and start becoming the person who embodies it. This is the battleground Napoleon Hill spoke of, the internal arena where the mind must be mastered before the world can be shaped. He said, the mind is the master power that molds and makes. Your external life is simply the echo of the thoughts you continue to obey. Look at the pattern. You want discipline, but you listen to comfort. You want growth, but you follow fear. You want transformation, but your thoughts cycle through the same emotional reactions you've carried for years. If your thinking stays the same, your life must stay the same. So today in this chapter, you confront the invisible enemy that has disguised itself as your own voice. Understand this. The undisciplined mind is a trickster. It will rationalize your laziness. It will justify your stagnation. It will disguise your avoidance as self-care. It will protect your weaknesses as if they are your identity. But the disciplined mind, the mind that leads an extraordinary life, speaks with clarity, not emotion. It tells you what must be done, not what you feel like doing. This is the turning point. You cannot rise until you stop negotiating with the voice that keeps you small. Imagine standing in that dim room, the light flickering across your face, your hands tightening around the truth. You choose which voice wins every single day. Not once, not in a dramatic moment. Every day, every choice, every thought. Because discipline isn't an event, it's a decision made repeatedly until it becomes who you are. Now listen carefully. Your thoughts are habits. Your doubts are habits. Your excuses are habits. And just like any habit, they can be broken, replaced, rewired. Here is the secret most people never understand. You don't need to feel disciplined to act disciplined. You need to act disciplined until you feel disciplined. Identity follows action. Confidence follows consistency. Transformation follows truth. And the truth is this: you don't need motivation. You don't need the perfect moment. You don't need the right mood. You need command. One decision, one action, one interruption of the old pattern. Every time you take control of your thoughts, you take control of your life. So in this battle behind your eyes, you are not fighting for a task. You are fighting for a new identity. Let this sink deep into you. You are not weak. You are untrained. You are not stuck. You are undisciplined. You are not lost. You are unfocused. But nothing about you is unchangeable. This chapter is not about defeating the old voice. It's about starving it. It cannot survive if you stop feeding it with attention, emotion, and excuses. Stand tall in the silence of your mind. Listen to the voice of discipline whispering inside you. It's quiet now, but with every action, it grows louder. And soon, it becomes the dominant force in your life. Affirmation: I command my thoughts. I choose my identity. My discipline rewrites my destiny. There comes a moment in every life where you realize something truthfully uncomfortable. Your excuses are not reactions. They are rehearsals. You don't create new excuses every day. You repeat the same ones with new decorations and slightly updated storylines. Each excuse you've ever used has been recycled, polished, justified, and subconsciously practiced until it became your default escape. And in this chapter, we walk into the place where those excuses are born and where they must finally die. Listen closely. The reason your life isn't changing is not because you lack potential. It's not because you lack opportunity. It's because you keep protecting the habits that are slowly destroying you. You defend your comfort as if it has ever given you real peace. You defend your distractions as if they've ever led you anywhere meaningful. You defend your delays as if time owes you a future, but time owes you nothing. Comfort owes you nothing. The world owes you nothing. And your excuses, the ones you think are keeping you safe, are the very chains keeping you in the same place. Picture this. You're standing under the overhang. Rain pours down in front of you, like the barriers you've created in your own mind. Every drop is a reason you've used. I'm tired. I'll do it tomorrow. I need to wait for motivation. I'm not ready yet. It's not the right moment. But here's the brutal truth. There is no perfect moment. There is no ideal time. There is no magical alignment. There's only one thing that separates the man who changes from the man who stays the same: the willingness to do what must be done, even when he doesn't want to. Let that settle. Napoleon Hill said, "Procrastination is the bad habit of putting off until the day after tomorrow what should have been done the day before yesterday." In other words, excuses delay your destiny until you forget you ever had one. People don't fail because they lack desire. People fail because they obey the excuse that feels most comfortable. Your excuses don't appear randomly. They appear in the exact moments where growth knocks on your door. Every excuse has one goal: to protect the old version of you, the version that fears change, the version that avoids discomfort, the version that wants transformation without sacrifice. But hear me clearly. You cannot evolve and stay the same. You cannot rise and remain comfortable. You cannot break through and still cling to your excuses. Change requires a death, the death of the identity that keeps avoiding responsibility. So today, right now, on this rain-soaked street, you confront the truth. Your excuses are lies disguised as logic. Let me show you how they operate. You say you're tired, yet you waste hours on distractions. You say you lack time, yet your days slip through your fingers unnoticed. You say you don't feel ready, yet readiness is something discipline creates, not something the universe grants. You say you'll start later, yet later has never once arrived. These excuses feel real because you've repeated them so often that they've become a part of your identity. But they are illusions, paper walls, false barriers. And when you walk through them, you realize they were never walls, only shadows. Now listen carefully. There is a version of you on the other side of your excuses who is stronger, sharper, more focused, more capable, more disciplined than you have ever allowed yourself to become. But you cannot reach him until you make a brutal decision. Your excuses no longer get a vote. Not today. Not this moment. Not in this new era of your life. Imagine stepping out from the overhang into the rain, into the discomfort, into the unknown. Not because it's pleasant, not because it feels good, not because you're suddenly motivated, but because you refuse to be controlled by the same excuses that have controlled you for years. This is where change happens. Not in comfort, not in certainty, not in preparedness. Change happens the moment you act in direct opposition to your excuses. The moment you confront the lie with disciplined action. The moment you choose responsibility instead of avoidance. The moment you say, "This ends with me." Feel that. Let it settle in your bones. Because when excuses die, identity is reborn. And as the rain pours down around you, something inside you shifts, a quiet strength awakening, a new standard forming. This isn't motivation. This is rebirth. This is reclamation. This is you stepping fully into your potential. Affirmation. I do not negotiate with excuses. My actions define me. My discipline liberates me. There is a moment in every transformation when you meet something you've spent your entire life avoiding. Friction. Not the kind that blocks you, the kind that builds you. The world has taught you to believe that discomfort is a sign you should stop, but the truth is far more powerful. Discomfort is the birthplace of every stronger version of yourself. Look at the weight in front of you. Heavy, intimidating, demanding. There's nothing gentle about it, nothing forgiving, nothing easy. But that weight, that resistance, exists for one reason: to form you. Napoleon Hill said, "Strength and growth come only through continuous effort and struggle." He knew what most people never learn. You don't rise in the absence of friction. You rise in the presence of it. This chapter is the moment you stop avoiding the pressure and start embracing it. Because pressure doesn't break you. It reveals the parts of you that were never solid. Listen carefully. Everything you want, every dream, every goal, every higher identity is guarded by a gate of friction. You will not enter without resistance. You will not transform without struggle. You will not become unstoppable while demanding comfort. Look at your life honestly. Every time things get difficult, you pull back. Every time the task demands more strength, you hesitate. Every time discipline becomes inconvenient, you step away. And each retreat hammers the same truth into your identity. I am someone who quits when it gets uncomfortable. That is the real prison. Not failure, not weakness, not lack of opportunity. Your prison is the belief that discomfort is your enemy. But today, that belief dies. Let me show you something powerful. When you lift a weight, your muscles don't grow during the lift. They grow because of the friction, the micro tears, the resistance, the strain. The body breaks so it can rebuild stronger. The same is true for your mind, your habits, your purpose, your identity. Growth requires tension. Discipline requiert pressure. Greatness requires friction. Now imagine the man gripping that barbell. Hands tight, breath steady, legs planted. He isn't fighting the weight. He's becoming the person strong enough to lift it. This is the secret most people ignore. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You rise to the level of your resistance. The more you learn to face friction, the more unstoppable you become. But here is the real turning point. Friction only feels painful when you resist it, when you embrace it, when you meet the challenge halfway. The discomfort transforms into power because friction activates something ancient inside you. Your will, your courage, your capacity, your potential. And the moment you stop running from it, you begin to evolve. Listen to this truth. Comfort keeps you where you are. Friction shapes who you're becoming. Think about your greatest breakthroughs, the moments that changed you. None of them came from ease. None of them came from convenience. None of them came from waiting for the perfect moment. They came from pressure. They came from responsibility. They came from doing the thing you didn't want to do and proving to yourself that you could. That's the doorway you stand in front of right now. This chapter is not about lifting weights. It's about lifting your life. It's about grabbing hold of the resistance in front of you and deciding, I will not step back. I will meet this head on. Feel that heat rising in your chest, that tension in your shoulders, that spark of defiance whispering, I can handle more than I've allowed myself to believe. Because here's the truth. You are stronger than your fears. You are stronger than your doubts. You are stronger than the version of you that keeps choosing the easy path. Friction doesn't weaken you. It exposes your power. And once you learn to love that pressure, to welcome it, to step into it, to see it as the forge of your future, everything in your life shifts. You stop waiting for discipline. You stop negotiating with excuses. You stop breaking your own momentum. You start becoming solid, structured, focused, unshakable. You start becoming the person who does what must be done, simply because it needs to be done. A man of command, a man of intention, a man forged in friction. Feel that transformation beginning. Feel the weight in your hands. Feel the resistance calling you forward. This is where your old identity crumbles and your new one forms, not in ease, not in comfort, not in perfect conditions, in friction. Affirmation. Friction forms me. Pressure strengthens me. I am built by the challenges I embrace. There is a version of you that you have met many times in your mind, but never fully stepped into. A stronger you, a disciplined you, a relentless you, a you who doesn't hesitate, doesn't negotiate, doesn't shrink, a you who moves with purpose as naturally as you breathe. But for years you've kept him at a distance, close enough to imagine, but far enough to avoid. Why? Because becoming him requires the death of the man you are now, the comfortable man, the predictable man, the man who chooses ease over evolution, the man who chooses feelings over commitments, the man who talks about potential but doesn't fully claim it. This chapter is the confrontation. The moment you step into the room and face the version of yourself you've been running from. Listen carefully. Napoleon Hill said, before you can control your conditions, you must first control yourself. And that begins with a simple, brutal truth. The man you want to become already exists, but he cannot emerge until the man you are stops getting in the way. That's what this room represents, a sacred space between who you've been and who you're destined to be. Picture the chair in front of you, empty, but not really. That chair holds the man you know you could be if you stop delaying your own evolution. A man of early mornings, a man of consistency, a man who keeps his word to himself with the same intensity he once kept his excuses. A man of structure, a man of inner command, a man who acts even when he does not feel like acting. That man has been waiting for you, not with judgment, but with potential. He knows what you can be. He knows the strength you bury. He knows the greatness you silence when you choose comfort. And now, with this chapter, you are finally close enough to touch him. But here's the truth most people never face. You don't become your higher self. You reveal him. He is not built from motivation. He is uncovered through discipline. He is awakened by sacrifice. He is summoned by responsibility. The gap between you and him has never been motivation. It has always been obedience. Obedience to the small things, the daily things, the unglamorous things, the uncomfortable things, because the man you are becoming is not created from grand gestures, but from consistent commitments. Listen, every time you choose discipline over emotion, you move closer to him. Every time you follow through, when you don't feel like it, you become him. Every time you silence your excuses and take decisive action, you step into his identity. And every time you break a promise to yourself, you step away. That is the quiet truth of growth. Identity is shaped in the smallest decisions, not in the dream, not in the wish, not in the intention, in the action. You may think becoming him requires some monumental transformation, but it doesn't. It requires one choice: to stop abandoning yourself. Think about how many times you've betrayed your own potential. How many times you've chosen the lesser version of yourself simply because it felt easier in the moment. That's the pattern you break today. That's the identity you bury. That's the turning point you claim. Because the man in the chair, the one who radiates power, disciplina, clarity, purpose, is not someone you find. He is someone you decide to be. Feel that shift. Feel the gravity of this moment. Feel the truth rising in you like fire. You already know what the higher version of you would do. He would wake up earlier. He would follow through. He would honor his commitments. He would master his emotions. He would demand more from himself. He would stop waiting for life to change and start commanding it. And now you do the same. You take a step closer to that chair. You breathe deeper. You straighten your posture. You let the old self tremble. You let the new self rise. Because this chapter is not about imagining the stronger version of you. It's about becoming him, not tomorrow, not someday, not when life feels convenient. Now, right here, right in the presence of the identity you have avoided but desperately needed. And as your hand grips the back of that chair, something inside you locks into place. A quiet vow, a private awakening, a personal standard. I will no longer run from the man I am meant to be. This is the birth of identity. This is the moment of alignment. This is you crossing the threshold. Affirmation. I rise into the identity I once feared. The man I envision is the man I become. There is a moment in every transformation when discipline stops being something you chase and starts being something you activate. This is that moment. Not dramatic, not loud, not inspiring in the way movies depict it, but real, quiet, undeniable. Because discipline isn't born from emotion, it's born from decision. And right now, in this still room, you are sitting in front of the most powerful machinery a human being can ever build, the discipline engine. Let me explain. Most people treat discipline like motivation, a feeling that comes and goes, something you hope for, something you wait on, something that magically shows up on the days you feel ready. But discipline isn't emotional, it isn't negotiable, and it isn't random. Discipline is mechanical, structured, predictable, intentional. Discipline is a system you build around your life until it becomes impossible to fall back into who you used to be. Napoleon Hill said, action is the real measure of intelligence, because action, not intention, is what separates the dreamer from the doer, and the doer from destiny. So today, you stop speaking about discipline and start engineering it. Picture the man at the desk. He sits with a blank page. To anyone else, it's nothing. But to him, to you, this page is a contract, a blueprint, a line in the sand, a declaration of personal command. This is where the discipline engine is built, not in the gym, not in the workplace, not in the big moments, but in the small private decisions that no one sees and no one applauds. This engine has 3 parts, and each one reshapes your identity. 1. Structure, the foundation. Discipline collapses without structure. Your old self lived by moods. Your new self lives by design. Structure means you no longer rely on willpower. You rely on systems. A time to wake, a time to work, a time to move, a time to grow. When your life has structure, your mind becomes free. And the man who is free internally is unstoppable externally. 2. Repetition. The driver. Repetition is the oxygen of discipline. You don't become disciplined in a single act. You become disciplined by repeating the act long after the motivation has died. Repetition builds identity. Identity builds confidence. Confidence builds destiny. Every rep is a vote. A vote for the man you committed to becoming. 3. Non-negotiation. The lock-in. This is the part most people avoid. Because non-negotiation means you don't ask yourself how you feel. You don't evaluate excuses. You don't renegotiate your promises. When you're tired, busy, overwhelmed, or uninspired, you do what must be done, simply because it must be done. This is where your discipline engine becomes unstoppable, not because it's perfect, but because it's unbreakable. Now listen, when you create structure, repetition, and non-negotiation, something extraordinary happens. You stop being a man who tries and become a man who executes. You stop being a man who hopes and become a man who decides. You stop being a man controlled by circumstances and become a man who creates them. This shift is internal, but its effects are external. People will notice. Your habits will tighten. Your energy will rise. Your clarity will sharpen. Your excuses will weaken. Your old identity will dissolve. And the man you were avoiding becomes the man you are. Let this truth hit you with full force. Discipline isn't suffering. Discipline is self-respect. It's how you prove to yourself that you are worthy of the life you claim to desire. Every completed task is a statement. Every followed-through commitment is a declaration. Every disciplined moment is a vote for your future. You are building momentum. You are building identity. You are building a man who cannot be moved by emotion or broken by resistance. This is the rise, the ascension, the awakening of your internal machinery. Feel the shift. Feel the ignition. Feel the engine coming alive inside you. One habit, one choice, one decision at a time. This is no longer the chapter of learning discipline. This is the chapter of becoming discipline. Affirmation. My discipline is my power. My structure is my strength. I rise by the habits I refuse to break. There is a force in life more powerful than talent, more powerful than opportunity, more powerful than luck. It is momentum. Once it begins to move, it carries you forward effortlessly. Once it builds, it becomes unstoppable. Once it cracks open, it transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary. But here's the truth most people never grasp. Momentum is not given, it is earned. Every morning you wake and act with intention. Every decision you follow through on. Every promise to yourself you honor. All of these are the sparks that ignite momentum. And every day you hesitate. Every excuse you embrace. Every habit you neglect. You slow it down. You weaken it. You betray your own rise. Napoleon Hill taught, patience, persistence, and perspiration make an unbeatable combination for success. But persistence isn't simply repeating actions. Persistence is building unstoppable momentum. It is moving even when the world resists, even when your body protests, even when your mind screams for comfort. Look at the runner in the mist. Each step is ordinary, but the repetition, the commitment, the refusal to pause creates power. The first step is always the hardest. The second step builds confidence. The third step ignites momentum. And by the time he reaches his stride, even the fog cannot slow him. Even the obstacles cannot deter him. Even the doubts cannot reach him. This is the principle your life is waiting on. Momentum or nothing. Because there is no greatness in hesitation. There is no transformation in delay. There is no breakthrough for the one who waits to feel ready. Momentum is what separates the man who changes his life from the man who repeats it. It is not spectacular. It is not flashy. It is the quiet accumulation of repeated actions, each one small, each one deliberate, each one defying the resistance of your old self. Feel it. The energy rising in your chest, the tension in your limbs, the clarity in your mind. This is your life gathering speed, your identity aligning, your potential becoming tangible. But there is a warning. Momentum is fragile. It dies when you stop feeding it. It falters when you return to old habits. It collapses when excuses re-enter the mind. And the cost of losing it? Everything you've been building, every gain evaporates, every breakthrough pauses. That is why you must guard it with the discipline you cultivated in Chapter 6. Momentum is not random. It is deliberate. It is cultivated. It is protected. And once you understand this, everything changes. You no longer ask, "Am I ready?" You no longer wonder, "Do I have motivation?" You simply act, and the action carries you. Every decision, every habit, every choice adds velocity. Every ignored distraction, every conquered temptation, every completed commitment strengthens it. Napoleon Hill said, "Great achievement is usually born of great sacrifice and is never the result of selfishness." Momentum is not selfish. It is the engine of greatness. It is proof that the man you've been building is alive, unstoppable, unshakable. Now imagine yourself in this moment. Every small choice you make is fuel. Every disciplined action you take adds power. Every resistance you overcome adds speed. Soon, you are no longer walking through life. You are running, not recklessly, not blindly, but with purpose, with clarity, with the energy of a man who refuses to stop. And the fog, the doubt, the fear that once held you back, they cannot keep up. This chapter is not about action alone. It is about relentless consistency. It is about being unstoppable because you have built an inner engine that moves with or without desire. You are not dependent on feelings. You are not dependent on circumstance. You are dependent only on your momentum, and it will carry you to the next chapter, to the next breakthrough, to the next level of identity. Feel it in your bones. This is not temporary. This is not luck. This is you in motion. Affirmation. I am unstoppable. Momentum flows through me. Every disciplined action propels me forward. There comes a moment in every life, a defining moment, when all your preparation, all your discipline, all your momentum converge into one question. Who will I choose to be? Not tomorrow, not next week, not when it feels convenient. Now, this is the crucible, the place where your identity is tested, where your habits are measured, where your destiny waits for a single, unwavering commitment. You've built the discipline engine. You've stared down excuses. You've embraced friction. You've stepped into the man you once avoided. You've ignited momentum, but nothing counts until you choose. Choice is the silent power behind every life transformed. Every great achievement begins with a decision to act, to commit, to align thought, word, and deed into one unstoppable force. Napoleon Hill said, "Every adversity, every failure, every heartache carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. And the seed is planted in your decision. The man standing at the edge of this cliff feels the weight of every choice he has ever made. Every action, every hesitation, every surrender, every breakthrough has led him here. He looks out at the horizon and sees endless possibility. But the horizon does not care about your excuses. It does not wait for your courage. It does not bend to your fears. You must step forward. You must act. You must choose the life you desire over the life you've been comfortable living. Listen carefully. This is the moment most people fail. They stumble when the stakes feel real. They falter when the pressure is undeniable. They retreat when the horizon demands accountability. But you are no longer most people. The man you've been building, the disciplined, relentless, unshakable version of yourself, does not negotiate with fear. He does not yield to hesitation. He does not compromise with comfort. He chooses, and this choice, though invisible to the world, reshapes everything. Because life does not change from ideas. Life does not change from wishes. Life changes from choices. Repeated, committed, unyielding choices. Every habit you form, every action you execute, every sacrifice you embrace is a vote cast for your identity. And right now, at this precipice, you cast the greatest vote of all. A vote for the man who refuses to be limited. A vote for the destiny that demands courage. A vote for yourself fully, without compromise. The wind hits your face. The waves crash below. The world is vast, wild, indifferent. And yet, you feel power coursing through your bones. This is not triumph yet. It is recognition. It is awareness. It is clarity. You realize the old self is gone. You realize excuses hold no sway. You realize friction has forged you. You realize momentum carries you. You realize discipline is no longer external, it is who you are. And now you choose. The choice is simple, yet monumental. To rise fully into your identity, to act decisively in alignment with your purpose, to claim the life you've been building in secret. No hesitation, no debate, no compromise, only action, only alignment, only forward motion. Napoleon Hill taught, the man who does more than he is paid for will soon be paid for more than he does. Your investment is yourself. Your return is life transformed. Step into it. Own it. Live it. The cliff beneath you is not danger. It is possibility. The horizon before you is not uncertain. It is freedom. The wind around you is not opposition. It is awakening. You do not wait. You do not hesitate. You do not look back. You step forward. Because in the crucible of choice, the only thing that matters is whether you rise fully into who you are meant to be. Affirmation. I choose myself. I choose my discipline. I choose my destiny. Nothing can hold me back. This is the final chapter, not because the journey ends, but because you have arrived at the place where transformation becomes eternal. Every struggle you've faced, every excuse you've conquered, every act of discipline, every step into friction, every vote for momentum, every decisive choice, it all converges here. And now you stand in a space beyond striving, beyond desperation, beyond fear. This is the still power within. It is the calm that follows discipline, the serenity that follows struggle, the quiet certainty that follows persistent, relentless action. Look around. The mountains, the horizon, the rising sun, all are reflections of the inner world you have built. You have become a man who does not flinch in the face of resistance, a man who does not bow to emotion, a man whose identity is forged by action, reinforced by choice, and tempered by friction. And yet, this power is silent. It is not loud. It does not demand recognition. It simply exists, unshakable, unmovable, eternal. Napoleon Hill said, patience, persistence, and discipline create the enduring power that shapes destiny. And now you feel it, not as a lesson, not as an idea, but as life itself flowing through you. This is where the battle ends, not with a victory over others, but with a victory over the self that once held you back. The man you feared becoming is no longer ahead of you. He is within you. He is the calm in your decisions, the certainty in your actions, the relentless pulse behind every habit, every choice, every motion. Feel it in your chest. Feel it in your spine. Feel it in the quiet rhythm of your mind. This is power without struggle. Not because life no longer challenges you, but because nothing can unseat the foundation you've built. Every storm you faced now serves you. Every resistance now strengthens you. Every moment of friction now fuels you. And the horizon is not the limit. It is an invitation, an endless canvas upon which your discipline paints your destiny. This is the place where fear becomes irrelevant, where doubt cannot touch you, where excuses evaporate, where momentum becomes a river, carrying everything forward. Look within. The stillness, the quiet power. This is the proof that transformation is permanent. When discipline, identity, and choice align, no one can give it to you. No one can take it from you. It is yours, created by your will, honed by your struggle, awakened by your action. And now, as the sun rises fully, bathing the world in light, you understand the final truth of Napoleon Hill's philosophy. Success, mastery, and freedom are not external. They are the natural result of becoming the man who no longer negotiates with weakness, the man who commands his thoughts, his habits, and his choices, the man who has awakened the still power within. This chapter is not an ending. It is a beginning of perpetual mastery. You are no longer the man who needed motivation. You are the man who creates momentum. You are no longer the man who feared friction. You are the man who thrives because of it. You are no longer the man who hid from himself. You are the man who stands fully revealed, fully empowered, fully alive. And now, in this divine calm, there is no struggle, only clarity. No conflict, only certainty. No resistance, only power. Breathe it in. Feel it. Own it. Affirmation. I am the still power. I am unstoppable. I am discipline incarnate. My life flows from the choices I have mastered, and nothing can alter my destiny. The wind whispers around you. The sun glows before you. The world stretches endlessly. And for the first time, you see clearly. You are not chasing life. You are not waiting for destiny. You are the man who commands it. The transformation is complete. The journey is eternal. The power is yours.